Why do people go out and conquer other places? It's not conquest just for conquest's sake. It's not power just for power's sake. It's rarely power just for power's sake. Of course, individuals try to pursue and project their careers to get up there, to get into positions of power, and will sell their souls for anything. But generally, even they have to operate in a field of interest. There are interests involved. There are very real material interests at stake. There's plunder, and there's tribute, and there are resources and markets, and there's expropriating the land and the crops and the natural resources and the minerals and the wealth and the cheap labor, or in the case of Rome, the slave labor. If you want to know why so many countries in the third world are so poor, just look at the history of imperialism. They weren't naturally and inevitably poor. They were made poor. Underdevelopment was something that was imposed on them. They were developing. They had wealth. Many of them had very advanced civilizations. They were forced back and plundered and impoverished. Empires are enormously profitable, mostly for the ruling class. Empires are also enormously costly, mostly for the common populace. The people of Rome didn't do too well on the empires. They got a grain dole, and that was it. They often paid the price in blood. They were piled up in tenements and like, and that's the truth of every empire. The empire feeds off the resources of the republic. And that was true of the Roman Empire in its days, right to the late Republic. That was true of the British Empire, and that's true today. The people pay the taxes and do without essentials so that the patricians can pursue their far-off plunder. The center is bled so that the perimeter can expand. Athens is defunded and starved so that Sparta can batten and grow ever more powerful. We see that happening today right here in this country. $200 billion being spent in Iraq. We don't know where one-third the money's going. The Pentagon has admitted at least one-third of the money is totally unaccountable. They just don't know. We're talking about billions of dollars here. We don't know where that money's going. A few giant oil cartels are reeking it in. They now have control of an oil resource. They don't have direct ownership. They prefer to keep it in nominal ownership to the Iraqi government. But they have control now of an oil reserve which at today's prices must be over $5 trillion. $5 trillion. You could say, well, that's an oil supply that's for us consumers. We'd be without oil to heat our homes and fuel our cars. No, you wouldn't be without oil. When the Iraqis owned their own oil, they were happy to sell it to the U.S. at market prices. In fact, that's what the first Gulf War was about. Saddam Hussein wanted he wanted a bigger piece of the world oil quota. And George Bush Sr. was keeping him out and saying, no, Iraqi crude is some of the best in the world. It's the second largest reserve in the world. Oil prices were very low. He would glut the market. Prices would go down. You know what happens when prices go down on oil? Their profits go down. You know what happens when prices go up? Their profits go up. As you can see just recently, record profits by the oil companies. We pay for that. We pay in the taxes. We paid that $200 billion. We pay, every community in this country pays that. I go all over this country speaking, and I pick up the papers, and it often looks like this. I'm in the same place every time. The same story every time. City council votes cuts in the budget. State legislature facing large deficit. This and that. Schools closing, libraries closing, hospital closing, lack of funding, so forth, so on. The empire feeds off the republic. Somebody's got to pay for that. They got more money than they can even count or hold accountable there in Iraq. Very little of it has gone to the Iraqi people. The water purification plants still haven't been put into function yet. After 3 years, very few of them. The electrical systems in many places, neighborhoods in Baghdad where you get 4 hours of electricity if you're lucky, so forth. Where is all the money going, everyone's asking? Well, For some people, empire is quite profitable. Don't ever say that George Bush's policy in Iraq isn't working. It's working. It's just not working for you or for me or for the Iraqis, but it's working for certain interests. It's working in the way that empires have always worked. To say George Bush's policy isn't working is a senseless comment. It's not a political comment. It's not a politically defined comment. So discard it, because you have to say, working for whom? Whose interest? Cui bono is the Latin phrase. Who benefits? Who gets the payoff on this? And just because many of our liberal commentators don't know what they're doing doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. You get it? And when you think those who rule you, when you think those who rule the wealth and control the markets and the labor and the resources of society and set the wages and define the labor market and control the media culture and all that, when you think they're stupid, then you're being stupid. You got that?